I said, Act 3, go over the fallacy worksheet, and then we're going to talk about Act 4. I have a Padlet where you guys are going to type like a journal entry, and that will be kind of like our activity for today. Before we get started with that, guys, I wanted to let you know on Thursday night they're doing an AP like update seminar for schools and teachers and guidance counselors and stuff. So I signed up for that. I should have some updates for you guys on Friday about what the exams are going to look like, and your other teachers should know too. And again, we're kind of waiting to find out, and we'll get started on AP review for next week. I'm not planning on giving you guys anything at all over spring break. So just know that week of spring break, like you guys are going to have off and have a break, which will be good. I like that, and you guys like that. And then do you have the access code for the 5 for 5 website? I don't know what that is. Is that for another class? 5 for 5. What's 5 for 5? Jacob. 5 points to get a AP Lang. Oh, 5. I gotcha. 5 steps to 5. I can get that for you if you want it. Remember that you guys don't need to stress about preparing for multiple choice. It's like just essay practice. I would say the best practice we're going to have is going to be on AP Classroom, because that's going to look most like the test. But again, I'm waiting to assign that until we know what the test is actually going to be. So, yeah, so that'll go for the next few weeks. I can see if I can find a code though for the free book and email it out to you. Okay, so with that, guys, I also wanted to touch base with you and see how you guys feel like the synchronous like meeting on our actual class day. I just wanted to get your guys' feedback on how it's going. Like, do you think it's beneficial? Do you like doing it this way? Kind of get a feel for that before we go into our review.
I definitely like it. It helps me not to procrastinate.
I'm so bored. I've been sitting at a computer for 12 hours a day for the past week.
No, it's rough.
Oh.
I get you. Does anybody else have thoughts?
Life has been amazing. It's like an early summer.
It is
not. I can't go anywhere.
Well, for the people who can go somewhere, this is nice.
So what about like our class itself? Like, do you guys feel like the pace has been okay? Do you know what's due and what you need to work on, that kind of stuff?
The only thing I dislike is I'm sorry. The only thing I dislike is like I can't talk to Levi in class anymore.
I know. Less distractions from Dalton, which we all miss.
I mean, I like it because it's one of the most like clear classes, honestly. It's kind of like straightforward. You know what you got to do like every day.
I feel like this class has the least
least confusion.
Yeah, that's what we're going for. Well, I will plan on us continuing, because the reason I asked that, I was going to see if you guys are liking the synchronous classes, and if there's ever a day that you have to miss, like just email me. Like Matthew's, for example, today he emailed me and said he's doing like a service project with his church. So, awesome. That's great. I don't know what he's doing, but I can just record these. Zoe, we're recording these and she's watching them later. Obviously, it's better if you're actually physically there, but if there's ever a day that you need to miss for any reason, just let me know. No big deal. So anyway, we'll get started on something different next week. I do want to let you guys know, after the play's done, I have a couple companion pieces we're going to read. Each of them will take like one class period. We're going to read an article from Arthur Miller, and then an older piece by Jonathan Edwards. It's called Sinners in the Hand of an Angry God. And it's a good one. It's like a fire and brimstone sermon, but it's one of those like iconic messages. And a lot of pastors actually base their teaching off of it. So that's what's coming after. I also found, I didn't create this, I found a like review test quiz on Canvas from another teacher that they made. And I'm going to make that due by Tuesday of our next class. I'm going to let you guys take it as many times as you want to. So you absolutely can get 100. You can use your notes, you can use the study guide. I prefer for you guys not to talk to each other, like figure it out on your own. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna allow you to retake it until you get 100. So, you know, you can go through it and do your best the first time. And I have these for my class, guys. I will be totally honest with you. What I do when I take these is and I don't know how honest this is, but I like have studied and gone through it. So if I miss one or two, like I take a picture of the correct answer with my phone and I go back and find it and look over it. And then I retake it till I get 100. So if I do that for my grad school classes, I have no problem with you guys doing that for your class. Okay. So that'll be like a 25, 30 point grade. So just know that that's coming up too. And super easy. I don't like to give a ton of multiple choice stuff, but that'll kind of make sure you guys feel like you understand the play. So with that said, what do you guys think of Act 3? Lots of shouting again. Kristen's shaking her head no. Max didn't like it.
It was so bad.
Yeah, what do you mean so bad? Like,
I mean, I just like how every single person has like a different view on what's actually going on. It's annoying too much.
Yeah. Anyone else agree with Kristen?
I really hate their voices, all of them.
They all kind, yeah, they definitely are very intense with everything they say.
What
Too much yelling.
with what's her name? The proctor servant. Like
Mary.
yeah, why was she like on his side and like saying she lied and then all of a sudden he like completely just
Okay, so this, if we were in class, guys, I would have actually had you guys like kind of play this out like in a HBCA high school version situation. So basically, she had stuck the needle in the poppet and Abby had like concocted this whole story. Sometimes actresses play like they were in cahoots together, but I think Arthur Miller wrote it like Mary didn't know, and she loves Elizabeth. Like Elizabeth is a nice like employer. So she like kind of her conscience caught up with her and she was going to go confess. And then peer pressure happened and her friends started like mimicking her and acting crazy and she like gave into it. So she like wanted to do the right thing but then couldn't and stepped back.
I feel like, oh, sorry.
No, go Chase.
That the allegory that you said this kind of was at the beginning, I don't really see how some of this relates to that.
Okay, let me actually pull this up. Hold on one second. Okay, so it's supposed to relate the allegory Chase is talking about, guys. Remember, we talked about the Salem witch trials. Can you guys all see my screen now? Yes. You good? Oh, no. There it goes. Okay, so can you guys all see the grid view? Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's nice. And I can scroll down and like see other people normally. So basically going back to Chase's question, the allegory, how does this all fit together? Basically, if you look at this paragraph, I don't know if I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? No, yes, there we go. So the comparison basically is Arthur Miller was actually investigated by the House Un-American Activities Committee that McCarthy headed up. And all these actors and actresses and singers, and athletes, they were like pointing fingers at each other saying it was so-and-so's fault. It was so-and-so's fault. You know, so-and-so's a communist. And they were trying to get the pressure off of themselves. And Arthur Miller would not name anyone. He basically said, no, I'm not a communist. I don't know anybody who is. He would not like give in to the peer pressure. And for that reason, his plays were not performed for several years. It was actually quite a bit of time before he was accepted back into Hollywood and became so popular. So he was blacklisted for quite a while. He did have a career after, but it took some time for him to become popular again. Chase, does that more or less connect? Good.
Oh, I guess just I guess what I'm confused about is like in the play, everyone's pretending to be a witch. But it was like the opposite was happening with the Red Scare, right?
Yeah, it's not a direct, obviously it's not a direct connection. I think if it had been more blatant, like Arthur Miller could have gotten in more trouble because he's having to have some nuance while he's writing about his current situation under the guise of the Salem witch trials. I do think there were lots of people who were accused of going against our country during the Red Scare that weren't really doing those things. So I think that's the connection is people were innocent and accused of being guilty, though there were people who actually were communist and not, you know, the House of Un-American Committee found them too. Yeah. And John Proctor is supposed to represent Arthur Miller with the affair and the wanting to stand up for what's right, all of those things.
Apparently, John Proctor was a real guy too,
He was the last.
and he got hanged.
Yep. Giles' story was real. He actually was not like this funny, sweet old grandpa. He was kind of a jerk. Like everybody sued him, and he sued a lot of other people. But you guys will find out what happens to him in Act 4. Abigail Williams was a real person. She did not have an affair with John Proctor. She was 11. Tituba, like you can actually go online. Let me actually show. Am I still sharing my screen? Yes. Okay. Let me actually show you guys the start of Act 3 talked about a petition from Rebecca, from Francis Nurse, her husband, trying to get Rebecca released. And if I can get it to load, this is an actual like copy of the document. These are all the people that signed to, they sign their names to the statement that Rebecca is not a witch. And you can see like Goody Putnam is on there, or Good Putnam, that's Mr. Putnam, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if it's the same one as the play. But all of these people, there's 40 people on it, 39 or 40. So I want you guys to think for a second, pretend you were accused of like cheating on a test or something like that, something bad. And you were going in, there's no coronavirus, you were going in to talk to Mr. Gaida or to Dr. Curley and kind of plead your case. Who among your classmates do you know for a fact would like stand up and go in for you and say, hey there, good to see you, Mrs. Curley. So Jacob, you say your classmates would actually physically go into Mr. Gaida's office and say, Jacob's not a cheater. Most of your friends. So I was thinking of this, and I was thinking like Mr. Cooper would, my sister would, probably a few of my students, probably Chase because his morals are straight. Yeah, Luke's got it. Luke will go too, right? Luke will go too. But when I was thinking of it, I probably only could say for sure like 4 or 5 people like I know without a fact. Now more people might surprise me. Griffin says definitely not Levi. But guys, like 40 people like saying, you are an honest, great person. I think that's pretty cool. That's almost your entire class saying that. The people in the class who are witnesses. Yeah, Kristen's right. So just think about what kind of person Rebecca Nurse really was. Like, I think the way she's portrayed in the play is how she was in real life, for sure. Did you guys have any other questions or any other things that didn't make sense in Act 3? I know when they all start like freaking out and pointing around the room, that's a little creepy. They were actually doing those kind of things during the real witch trials, by the way. That was like how the girls were acting. You guys good on Act 3? Do you guys have any questions on the worksheet, the fallacies worksheet?
Well, actually, why did they even start acting in the first place? Like, what's the point?
Oh, great, Jessica, great question. So guys, there's a lot of theories to this. Like why did the girls even do this? Let me see if I can actually pull this up really fast. Reasons for this witch trials. I'm actually probably going to have you guys do a flip grid or a discussion board on this. Is this it? Yes, here we go. So what are some like real explanations for the Salem witch trials? This is like an old sketch of the trial. One theory is boredom, basically that the girls they didn't have anything to do, kind of like being confined at home for the coronavirus. I don't know. I know it's not quite the same thing, but basically they had very strict rules and they thought it was fun. They thought it was exciting. Some people really did believe in witches and they really did believe in vampires and they believed in fairies and all of those things. And that is, once the girls started talking about it, people like jumped right in. Another reason, and I'll link this so you guys can read it if you want to, is basically the townspeople didn't get along. Like they fought all the time and it was kind of like a power battle. Some experts think it was caused by seasonal affective disorder. Basically, it had been winter for a really long time and people started to go crazy, which, I mean, it's not quite as it's normally like this exists today, but it's not quite to the extent of the Salem witch trials, obviously. This one I think has the most merit personally. Basically, they believed that there was like a fungal infection in the rye that the whole town was eating. And I know this sounds terrible, but basically it's like eating shrooms. Like the girls were high on shrooms. And they didn't know it. It wasn't like on purpose. But this has happened. And when grain is contaminated, it is really, really crazy, like what people see. So based on reading through like the court records and trials and stuff, this to me seems plausible. Like if they were continually eating things and like believing the story, like that could cause hallucinations and some of the hysteria that we saw. Yeah, Dalton, what's your question? Why do they call it a poppet? I don't know. They call it that in Pirates of the Caribbean too.
So when John like is talking about his his adulterousness to the court, and then they bring in what's her name? They bring in Elizabeth, and she's like, no, they didn't have adultery. So like that basically discredits the whole thing because like she tried to stand up for him.
Yeah, and she like never lies and was super honest. In that moment where she's trying to protect him, and it like it undoes everything. Because if she had been honest in that moment and said like, yeah, my husband cheated on me, they would have taken Abigail away and locked them up. So it like is just a disastrous situation. Kristen asked, how come everyone wasn't crazy then? That's the problem. Because it would mean just certain like it would mean just like certain families were affected and shouldn't the parents have like seen this kind of stuff. So you can read more. This researcher, Linda, this girl, she has basically, if you search her and then the poisoning, you guys can get like more information on her theory and why that makes sense, because she addresses that question. I haven't read her research, so I don't know exactly. Were there any moments in Act 3 that really stuck out to you guys that you really liked or thought were interesting? I know there's lots of yelling, but beside that. How did one more question, and then we'll move on to Act 4. How did Reverend Hale change throughout the act?
He's like on Proctor's side now.
Mm-hmm.
He's like realized it's all a hoax, basically, and he left.
Yep. Yeah, he grows more sympathetic to Proctor. Like Levi said, it's all a hoax. He realizes that these girls are fake. They are not true. They're making it up. Yep. Nathaniel Hawthorne, by the way, guys, he wrote the Scarlet Letter. He is a descendant of Judge Hawthorne. So like all the names, Judge Danforth, Judge Hawthorne, all those guys, they were real too. So, all right. Anything else you guys are wondering about? Ready for Act 4? Was there any specific reason he changed his mind? You guys answer that. Why do you guys think Reverend Hale has changed his mind? Yeah, don't be afraid to unmute yourselves. You guys can. Does anyone? Okay, Max says he thinks the girls are frauds and he like recognizes that. Oh, Rachel just asked a good question. John Proctor's evidence, says Kristen. Yeah, I think Hale has just been around the court enough that he is like he's not believing it anymore. He's seen enough to know it's not true because he actually has researched witches and witchcraft and he knows that this isn't it. So he had a theory and he believed in it at first and then he realized he's wrong and he feels kind of guilty for starting it all. Rachel, guys, really quickly asked a question. When are we going to start the Scarlet Letter? Do you guys mind if I hold off on that answer? I want to see what the final essay is and how much time we have left. I'm honestly going back and forth on having you guys read that versus doing other projects to prep you for the exam. Do you guys have a preference at this point? Would you guys rather focus on one more novel or would you guys rather focus, more on exam? We don't have the 2 test dates yet, Jacob. I've kind of been waiting to get that information. I mean, if they give you an exam option at the end of April, like I'm going to focus on exam stuff over the Scarlet Letter. Yeah, it seems like most of you guys are saying exam. The Scarlet Letter is a great book. Like there's so much to it. It's really powerful. I'll probably at least do like an excerpt with you guys. But we may not read the whole thing at this point. And I hope that's okay. I'm not like, my goal isn't to saddle you with more work. So that's the goal. All right. Let's go ahead. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, guys. Act 4 is the culmination of the play. It's actually not the climax of the Salem witch trials. Over the next few weeks, John Proctor is arrested, and over the next few weeks, lots of people are killed. They're all hung. Okay. Some of them are killed in other ways, which you'll find out, but they are convicted of being witches. And I think in the real Salem witch trials, 24 people died in all. John Proctor has been in jail for, I think it's like 3 or 4 months. I think about 3 months. And the scene of Act 4, and one dog, yes, Luke, one dog died too. He was accused of being a familiar, like basically the dog was accused of being possessed by the body of a witch. So yeah, it's sad. I know, right? We know it's messed up because the people were doing that kind of stuff. So in Act 4, guys, I want to give you a couple of quick things. I know I've been talking a lot today. I'm sorry. I want to give you a couple of quick things to watch for. Number 1, people have been in prison. They are not allowed to go on with their normal life. Think about their kids, think about their crops, think about their houses, think about the town. How is the town going to be after 3 months of adults being locked away in prison for being witches? Griffin puts his thumbs down. Not good. Anybody else? Why is it not good? It's deserted. Yes. You seeing some connections to today? No crops. Yeah, Levi says no crops. What about the kids? What about they aren't working? Yeah, people aren't working. They aren't getting money. So the economy's bad. Think about the kids. So mom and dad, John and Elizabeth, are both accused of being witches. What are they have 3 sons? What are their boys doing? They're running low on food. Their kids are alone. Yeah, this situation is terrible. And they're forced to believe Satan's running rampant or their friends died unjustly. Yeah, it's kind of like that either or fallacy. So their faith is being shaken up. The town is not in good shape. And several local towns, they're going to talk in Act 4, they're going to say the names of several other local towns that are also trying people for witches, because the Salem witch trials didn't actually just happen in Salem. It was like the surrounding areas as well. So basically the townspeople are starting to call it. They are saying, this is ridiculous. How are they going to treat Reverend Paris, who is supposed to be their leader in this time and has let all this stuff happen? Puts his thumb down. Yeah. Reverend Paris is scared for his life because the people are about ready to kill him. It's at that point. It's not good. John and Elizabeth have been kept separately. And what they are going to do in Act 4 is Judge Danforth, Reverend Paris, all of the leaders, they realize that things are bad and stuff is going to get worse. So they are trying to get the people that are still in prison, they're trying to get them to admit that they're witches so they can let them go and not kill them. Because if they kill them, people are going to be mad and upset. So this whole Act 4 is about John Proctor deciding, am I going to lie and say I'm a witch when I don't even believe in witches? Or am I going to hold to the truth and deny all of this and die from it, basically? So he gives a really famous speech. It's called the name speech, I guess. And before you guys watch the act, I actually want you to respond on this Padlet right here. I've pasted the link in the chat, and then it's also on our webpage, and I can make it an assignment too. But what I want you guys to respond and reflect on is the idea of a name. So I'm going to present my screen just so you guys can see the Padlet, and then we'll be done. So, and I can see some of you, if you guys will please put your name with this. Names are important. They are important. Good, whoever said that. So you guys are going to type a response on here where you answer the question. I kind of want you to think back to that Brian Doyle essay that we wrote, Being Brian's, where you researched your name. And I want you to just reflect on the concept of a name and what it makes it so meaningful. Okay. It's okay to do personal examples with this one for sure. Next class, guys, I'm going to have you respond to each other after watching Act 4 and give examples to kind of support each other's responses. Okay. So this is your assignment. You're going to answer the Padlet and watch Act 4 before next class. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions or anything you feel like needs addressed?
Can you show me where the Padlet is again?
What's that? Oh, yes, it's in the chat right now. If you go to the chat history, it's right there. And then it's also under Act 4 of our online learning page.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Ben. You guys have anything else? Enjoy Act 4. The speech that John Proctor gives, it's Mrs. Cooper's favorite. I love it. And lots of actors, they want to play. Luke says, how long? How long does the entry have to be? I thought you were asking how long Act 4 is. How long? I think you could do this in a nice paragraph. It doesn't need to be longer than that. Probably more than a sentence. This is to me is the best act of the play. It's a little bit dramatic. It is the shortest. There's a scene at the beginning. Oh, I forgot this, guys. I'm sorry. One last thing. There's a scene at the beginning. I'm pulling it up right now. Sorry, I'm going to share my screen one last time and then be done. Let me get it to go. Okay. Last screen share, I promise. The Act 4, guys, there is a scene at the beginning of the scene. It kind of has a conversation between Sarah Good and Tituba. Sometimes that's included in the play, like production, and sometimes it's not. I'm trying to find. Sorry, it's taking so long. No, don't log out. Don't log out. Don't do that. Let me see if I can get it pulled up here. Sorry, you guys can see my internet's going a little slow today. Rats. Anyway, if you want to skip, I'm trying to show you exactly where you could skip to. Sorry, guys, I logged myself out. I'm trying to show you guys where you could skip to if you want to skip over that part. And I apologize, I didn't have this pulled up. Yes, sweetie. You can do it, buddy. Go, go, go. We're making, you guys are going to think we're terrible parents. We're making the boys, if they go run 5 laps, like down to the end of the cul-de-sac and back, they get to play a video game. So, I don't know. It's been effective so far. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I can email you guys the time because oh, here it goes. Sorry. So if you go to Act 4, again, it's the shortest of the acts. It's probably about 4 to 5 minutes in. Also, I think it was Levi. I was talking a little bit with your mom. The closed captioning, which I always recommend watching with those. For some reason, it is not working, and I haven't heard back from them on why it's not working. So if I know it's hard to watch it without those. Guys, this is taking so long. I'm not gonna make y'all wait anymore. I'll look at the time and email it to you guys if you want to skip the first 5 minutes. Okay. So thank you all. If you have any questions, feel free to hang around. I'll jump off last.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for your time today. Bye, y'all. Miss you guys. Go ahead. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, guys. Bye, Griffin. Bye, Max. Bye, bye.
Can you pray for my family?